Hey guys, I'm Josh from Layzee Acres. Thank you for tuning in. We are saving the world one trailer at a time. Today we're going to do something a little different. It's going to be less of a sales video, more so of an instructional video. We're going to do a basic winterization from start to finish. It's going to be a little boring, but tune in, maybe pick up some few pointers. To be clear, this is not going to include winterizing a dishwasher, and it's not going to include winterizing a washer dryer. Thanks. Alright, first thing we're going to do, guys, is kind of introduce the tools to the trade. Very, very basic, guys. I've got myself a drill here with a number 2 Robertson bit. You may need a Phillips depending on the type of trailer you have. Then I've got, and a screwdriver would work as well. We're just taking a couple screws out. Then I've got a ratchet here with an 1 1/16 socket in it. That is good for suburban water heaters and new style Atwood water heaters. You will need a 15/16 socket if you're using like an old style Atwood water heater. And old, I mean anything that's older than 2021. So right on. Let's just get started here. First thing we do is we gotta make sure all of our tanks are empty, right? So that goes with the freshwater tank, the gray water tank, the black water tank, and then the water heater itself tank. When you're emptying your gray and your black, you go to a dump station to do that. Make sure those are bone dry and empty. First thing. Second thing, we're going to empty our freshwater tank. And the drains for this are going to be different depending on what trailer you have. You need to familiar yourself with your trailer. This trailer right here, being a J-Flight 264, the freshwater drain is right here. So I'm just going to flip this valve and drain out my freshwater tank. There could be times here where this is not a valve. It could be like a plug, it could be a cap. Anyways, the idea is the same. Drain first your gray and your black. Make sure your fresh water is going to drain. That's going to drain here for probably 3 or 4 minutes because I did fill with fresh water here this morning to give you the proper feel. Next, we're going to drain the water heater itself. This is the most important part of winterizing, that you drain your water heater. If you don't do this, it's a super expensive repair. We're talking $1,000 at least to change your water heater. So you got to make sure you do that next. And that's why I have that socket with an 1 1/16 in it. So we'll go grab that. So come back here to the water heater. This is the new style Atwood. Before I take the plug out, okay, or the cap or whatever's in there, I always pull a pressure relief valve. Just to take the pressure off the system there. We'll be right back. Right on, guys. Now that we've taken the pressure off with the pressure relief valve, by just flipping this little tab here. Other than this, you don't touch this pressure relief valve, right? So you're gonna take the pressure off right there. I'm gonna put my socket on the cap right here. All right, and then just thread this out. This is a brand new trailer, so it doesn't take much pressure at all. Take this off. Older trailers, they've been on there for the full year or whatever, this may take a little more pressure. And it's going to shoot out at us here in a second. I've got my nice shoes on. We're okay. All right. So that's just going to drain out here now. This particular water heater is a 6-gallon, so it's going to take a minute or so. There's obviously 10 gallons, that kind of thing will take a little bit longer. But basically, you just leave this valve open. All the water itself is going to spray out of the water heater. All right. Then, the idea is we are going to use the water pump that's on board the trailer, hook that water pump up to a gallon of antifreeze, turn the water pump on, and run the antifreeze through the trailer. But before that, there's 2 low point drains we are going to open up. And they're in different spots on every trailer. Get to know your trailer, find out where they are. On this 264 J-Flight, they're right here. They usually pop down to the bottom there. There'll be a hot and a cold. Again, sometimes they'll have a cap, sometimes they'll have a valve, sometimes they'll have a plug. This one's nice and easy to have valves. So we're just going to open these up. Okay. Drain out the water from the system. Now to properly drain out the water, we've opened these up. We're actually going to open up all the taps inside the trailer, so there's not like a suction feed keeping that water up in the line themselves. So we're going to go do that now. Open my kitchen tap. No water is going to come out because it's all falling out of the water, the low point drains. Gonna open up my bathroom tap. Gonna open my toilet. Okay. And I'm gonna open my shower. All right. Cool. Right on, guys. We will be right back. Right on, guys. I forgot about one of the most important tools of winterizing. We need the antifreeze. So, usually I use about 2 gallons just to be safe. 3 or 4 gallons. It's not very expensive stuff, so maybe get yourself a few gallons of antifreeze. After we've drained the water heater, okay, we've used the low point drains to drain the plumbing system. We've made sure all the tanks are empty. We're gonna go back inside the unit, close all the taps. Okay. The next thing we do is after we close all the taps, we close the low point drains. I know this is tedious running back in and out, but you get it. Closing low point drains. Okay. Now, next thing we want to do is bypass the water heater. We do not want 6 gallons of antifreeze going in the water heater and constantly foaming, all that wasted antifreeze. So you want to bypass the water heater. So the easiest way to do that is you find the water heater on the outside of the trailer, which we know where it is because we just drained it. So it's right here, right? And then there's gonna be some kind of access. So whether it's underneath the kitchen counter, underneath the bunk like this one, there's gonna be some access from the inside of the trailer that you have to pull apart and get out. So in this case, all right, this piece right here was screwed down around the water heater. I used that drill I showed you earlier to take these screws out. I pull this box back, so I have good access, all right? Basically what's going on is there's a cold water line going into the water heater and a hot water line coming out. You can tell the difference because the one is blue, cold, and the other one coming out is hot. But we have a bypass. So instead of antifreeze going into the tank and then outside the other side, let me give him the camera there, cameraman. There we go. So instead of water going in the tank, filling up the tank, or antifreeze going in the tank, filling up the tank, and exiting this way, we're going to bypass it. So there's a valve right here. We're going to turn this down, which forces water up through the bypass, and then turn the other valve in behind it down as well. All right. So see how that's going on there? So instead of antifreeze going in the water heater and out the top, we are going to force it to bypass the water heater itself. Okay. Now, often the actual valve, or sorry, the actual inlet is at the bottom of the water heater and coming up the top. This new style outlet is like parallel or side by side. So it's the cold water line is the one on the left, and then the hot water line is the one on the right over there. And they actually label it there for us, cold and hot. All right, but the key is we are bypassing the water heater. We are not putting antifreeze in the water heater itself. Right on. Right on, guys, we're back. To recap, we have drained the tanks, we have drained the lines using the low point drains, we've drained the water heater, and now we've just bypassed the water heater itself. If you guys are nervous about the water heater, if you don't bypass the water heater, it really isn't the end of the day. The only thing that's going to happen is you're going to get a little bit of antifreeze in the tank, might foam up for a little bit, and you're going to waste some antifreeze. So if you have doubts about it and you're running the antifreeze through, obviously if if you put antifreeze in the tank, it's going to be draining out that drain we just emptied out, right? So if you have doubts about that, it's not the end of the world, but basically you have operation with your bypass. And then if you flip the valves, whether it be 1, 2, or 3, the opposite of where they are, you're going to be bypassing the water heater. But I think with understanding that water goes in the bottom of the tank, out the top, you want to bypass the water heater, you'll get the idea. Next step is we are going to use the water pump itself to pump antifreeze in the trailer. All right, so the first key is we have to find the water pump, and this is often difficult because different spots in every single floor plan. What I do to find the water heater, or sorry, the water pump, is I turn the pump on. You can hear it, right? So you know, we can hear it run. Then you're going to find out where that is. In this case, it's underneath the kitchen. Basically, it can be underneath a dinette seat. It could be underneath a couch. It could be underneath a bunk. You know that you need to find your water pump and locate it. Then there's going to be some kind of access panel. This one right here, we had 2 drawers in this location. I pulled the drawers out, lickety split. I have easy access. I could have just opened up this cupboard door here and get access, but I thought for us to see it today, we do this. Now, look at the pump here itself. Come on in, camera. Can you see the pump? All right. So the pump here itself is sucking water from the water tank. This line right here, all right, runs down to the freshwater tank. But instead of that, we're going to flip this valve right here towards this open line. All right. Okay. This open line, we're going to stick this into a jug of antifreeze. Do that right now while we're at it. Well, these are child-proof. I don't know. We'll see. There we go. Of course. Make this difficult. Put this jug right in here. Okay. Now the question you're going to ask me is, what do I do if I don't have this open line on my water heater? Basically what it means is you'd have to thread off this piece right here that's attached to the water pump and put your own line on there. Most trailers now, in the last 5 to 10 years or so, have this siphon kit built in. If it doesn't, you've got to put your own on. So you basically, the line that goes to the tank, you would thread that line off, put your own line on, and put that line into your jug of antifreeze. In this case, we have the siphon kit built in. We don't have to worry about that. Now, when I turn the water pump on, which you're going to know where the switch is because you operated the trailer, we are going to actually pull antifreeze from here, and it's going to go through our lines to our taps, those kind of things. So we'll see if this works. Cool. So we have, because we've emptied the lines of all the water, that first, burst of antifreeze per se is just filling up the lines right now. But we still have to run it through each individual tap. So we're going to do hot and cold with both taps. Not just hot, not just cold. Hot and cold on all the taps. A little bit of water left, and it's going to turn pink here in a second. There we go. Cold water side. It's going to go clear again. No, just run straight to pink. Awesome. You're going to go to the washroom now. Okay. Never forget your toilet. Toilet's also a big, expensive one. Plenty of antifreeze there. I leave a little bit in there just like that. We're going to do the shower. Fill out the bottom. Okay, do the cold side, and then we're going to open up the shower itself. So we have pink at the top as well. Okay. So I can hear the pump. It kind of stopped throttling down. And look at my jug. Jug is empty. So we've done the kitchen taps. You can, you can shut it off. Thanks, Will. We've done the kitchen taps, bathroom taps, toilet, shower. But here's what everybody forgets. They forget their outside kitchen or they forget their outside shower. Okay? So last thing we got to do, we're going to open up another jug of antifreeze. Again, childproof. Okay. Turn the pump back on. It's lost its prime, so I'm actually going to open the tap. So I'll start pulling the antifreeze through again. I just wait till it throats down. Stops. Alright, let's go do the outside shower. This is probably also the time you do your outside kitchen, outside sink, that kind of thing. But we're going to do the outside shower. Some trailers have 2 outside showers, guys. You know, like a spray port and an outside shower, so don't forget that. That's cold. Cool. Awesome. Now, basically, what we've done is we've drained out all the water. We've run antifreeze through all the taps and all the lines themselves, but now we're going to take the rest of our jug of antifreeze and dump it down the traps to make sure that the traps underneath the sink are all full of antifreeze. Let's go do that. So I know I'm good here. I'm going to turn my water pump off. Actually, I'm going to turn that on. I'll leave that on. Just so I don't get antifreeze all over the place. Open my tap. Let's get there. Turn that off. My line is fairly empty here. I'm going to take my jug, dump about a cup down, and strain. This is probably redundant because we did run some antifreeze out of the tap into the sink, but there's no point saving half a gallon of antifreeze. Good. Right on. So the trailer's winterized. Okay, we've run antifreeze through everything. The trailer's winterized. These next steps are what we do here at Layzee Acres, just to make it a little bit easier come springtime. What we're going to do, we turn off the water pump, right? So there's no pressure left in the lines, right? We are going to open up all the taps, and then we're going to go back to those low point drains and drain out the antifreeze. And why we do that is because it reduces the amount of stink that you get come springtime from the antifreeze, and it lets you flip the bypass on the water heater back to operating position right now. So come springtime, you're just ready to go. So this feels redundant, but again, open all the taps. All right, gonna head back outside. Before we go to low point drains, I actually will go to the city water connection. Show you another little trick. This is actually a really important piece, so listen to me when I say this. Before we go drain the low point drains, we're actually going to go winterize the city water connection. Because at this point, we've just done the pump and the lines. We haven't actually done the city water. So come around the front here. Take the cap off the city. Take the washer here out of the city water connection. Keep in mind we have antifreeze in the lines at this point. We're going to push in this check valve. Okay, and that just lets all any air or water or whatever in there escape. Okay, so I push that in, we're good to go. Sometimes there's a little bit of antifreeze that comes out of there, but as long as I push this, I'm safe. Okay, angle. Right on, guys. So just quick note about the city water connection. Really important when I've pulled this washer out and pushed in that check valve that I've opened up a tap inside. Right now the taps are open, right? But if there's still pressure on the lines, the antifreeze is going to shoot out and you're going to blow an O-ring off the city water connection. So make sure when you winterize the city by pushing the check valve that you have taps open inside so there's not pressure on the system itself. All right, all the taps are open, okay? The shower taps are open, the kitchen taps are open, the bathroom taps are open. Then we're gonna come back here to these low point drains. Again, this may not be easy, right? You may have to take off caps or plugs, pain in the butt. Anyways, I'm gonna drain out all the antifreeze so that there's no antifreeze actually in the lines. Okay. Then I can go back inside, flip the water pump back to operating position, right? We don't need to be in winterizing position for the spring. And we're gonna flip the bypass back to operational position. Let's go do that. So to recap, I'm going to turn this back to the to the tank. Basically, you can just follow that line right to the tank. Put that back to normal. Come on, Josh, there it is. Okay. I'm going to close all my taps, right? Because you don't want to start things up in the spring and water starts spraying all over the place. And now I'm going to flip my water heater back to operating position. Got the camera, please. Okay. So right now, antifreeze was set to bypass the water heater itself. I'm going to go on the other side. I'm going to turn it back to normal operating position. Okay. Right on, guys, we flipped those valves back to operating position. So the bypass is in regular position. The siphon kit on the water pump is back in operating position. We're going to close the low point drains. Actually, the cameraman had a good question. Don't you run antifreeze in the tanks like themselves? And the answer is no. You just got to make sure they're empty. So the water heater has to be empty. The gray and black water tanks have to be empty, and the freshwater tank has to be empty. Closing the low point drains. Okay. Then we have to button everything back up. We're gonna put those drawers back in we took out. We're gonna put the wood encasing around the water heater back on, and then we're gonna put the plug for the water heater itself back on as well. Now, while we're here, Atwood water heaters use a plastic plug or a plastic cap. This doesn't need to be changed, no big deal. Suburban water heaters, they have what's called an anode rod. It's about 10 inches long. That needs to be replaced every time you winterize a trailer. So it's not a matter of if it looks ratty or not. Every time you winterize your trailer, you have to replace that anode rod. It's about 10 bucks. Basically, the hard water that you get in parks or at home or whatever will break down that anode rod and won't break down the water tank. So it's important to change that. With Atwood water heaters, with the plastic plug, they have an aluminum lined tank. You don't need to worry about replacing a plug or a cap on those. So we're gonna put this back on. I would typically use some kind of Teflon tape or some dope, okay? Wrap it around this piece here. I don't have that here with me today, so we're just gonna thread this back on. Lickety split. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. So to recap, guys, we've drained the tanks, we've drained the lines, we've run antifreeze through the lines, and then we drained the antifreeze after the fact. And that's how you winterize your trailer. I understand I didn't cover every single thing, like your dishwashers, your washer dryers, those kind of things. Really, guys, you should be just doing that at a dealer. That's not really for your average kind of RV owner. But I hope you get the idea of how to winterize your trailer. If you have any questions, really, you just have someone do it. Maybe follow along with them when they do it for the first year. But this is just kind of like a recap how to do this properly. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a good day.